Добрый день. Я очень рада всех приветствовать. Собираться перед камерами наших девайсов стало уже доброй традицией. Сегодня у нас необычный эфир, международный, поэтому мы его проведем полностью на английском языке. Перевод будет доступен после эфира и появится ссылкой в комментарии к видео, которое мы по традиции разместим на YouTube-канале Undevelopment. So, in the framework of series of webinars Evening at Poklonная 9, initiated by End Development, we have discussed new trends in real estate, as well as the experience of self-isolation. Today, I suggest focusing on the topic of service for life. It is either residential complexes, serviced apartment and hotel, living in the highest standard, as in our theme. Let's talk together about the best Russian and examples worldwide, how the life is going in a metropole that we are experiencing now and where we would like to live, with what kind of services and infrastructure. My name is Zhenya Milova. I am a journalist. Let me introduce you to our webinar. Oscar Hartman, passionate businessman, investor, founder and president of Kupi VIP, Car Price and Activa, is here with us. Managing partner and co-founder of End Development, Güven Dündar. Marat Tabanlioglu, co-founder and partner of Tabanlioglu Architects, and Yurata Gurouskaite, editor-in-chief of InStyle magazine Russia. I'm very glad to see and hear all of you. And my first and already traditional question, how are you? Let's start from you, Yurata. How are you?
Nice, very well. If it's possible to say, that we're all in isolation, I think, well, it's something new for our experience in our life, just to understand yourself more and to understand how to keep your businesses survive. It's challenging times. Thank you.
Murat, and what about you?
Fine, I'm now in Istanbul and looking to Bosphorus, which is very nice. It's a nice weather. Of course, since 6 weeks, we are isolated in our homes. And sometimes I can go out, but mostly it's in staying home. And weekends, maybe as you know, as you heard from the news, all the big cities, also Istanbul mainly is locked down, so we cannot go really out. So we have to stay not in the garden, of course, but we are staying home.
Murat Bey, maybe you can show us the Bosphorus a little further, a little later.
Little further, I will show you. Yeah.
For inspiration.
The books are more impressive. Now you have time to finish all the books in the bookshelf behind you.
Yes, yes.
Very rich, very rich.
Güven, and how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Lately, as I said before, also we are working on our new project. We are using this time. The constructions are stopped temporarily, and I'm using this time concentrating on the new projects, on the architecture, interior designs on some of them. We are working also on business models of our projects, because more competitive times are waiting for us. But all good for now.
Okay, great to hear it. And Oscar, what about you? How is your life?
Life is good because 5 years ago I listened to the advice of my grandmother. She said, build a wooden house in the Russian forest. And I said, I don't need a wooden house. I like to go to Four Seasons. I like to change She said, no, build a wooden house in the Russian forest just in case there's some crisis or emergency. You have a place to go. So I actually built a wooden house, very beautiful in the Russian forest, very isolated, and that's where we now are. So I read the book. Nassim Taleb is anti-hrupkost, is anti-fragile, and it says that you have to have options for the very rare events. So now I'm very happy that I listened to my grandmother's advice, and we feel very well because we have a lot of space, and we actually finished the house completely because everything with my own hands. I planted now trees, everything is done, all the pictures are on the walls, every single little thing is completed. So it's a very productive time, I assume.
Actually, as I know, wood is giving warmness, right? How do you feel inside the house comparing
No,
to
I love it.
concrete buildings?
I actually have to say that I recommend to everyone. It's completely different feeling when you live in a wooden house in the forest and we sleep. I just close my eyes. I open my eyes. 8 hours later, I feel perfect. It is really the feeling inside of a wooden house is really unique. It's really unique. I mean, it's hard to. It's difficult to show it, but it's everywhere. You feel good everywhere because the the spaces where we spend time have a big impact on our feelings and our how we feel. So I think the for the current time, I like this. I'm really. My brother is building a house right now. I called him. I said, Arthur, build only a wooden house, nothing else. It's the best. It's the best feeling.
This looks
Great.
like temple
Okay,
a little.
Oscar,
Yeah, it's nice.
Oscar, let's start with you. I know that you have repeatedly said that we will all gradually move online. And what else do you do in the new real estate? I heard about your company
Yeah,
Activo, the first and the
yes,
biggest commercial real estate crowd investing platform. So,
yeah.
what about
Oh,
new
what
real estate?
No, so what we invest in this year is we invest in living as a service. So we invest in the US. We create living spaces which are completely ready to live, completely ready. You can the moment you rent it, you can start living. Everything is done: the kitchen, the forks, the knives, the cooking ware, the pictures, the bed sheets, everything is ready to live. You can just turnkey, ready to live spaces. And I love this concept very much. So I invested already 3 times in the same company. I'm increasing my stake, and I like this very much. I think it's the trend is people want to live more and more in big cities. So we see that 50 years ago, only 1/3 of the population was in big cities, and now 2/3 of the world population is in big cities. So we have the biggest migration, and the next 15 years, about 1 billion people in the world will move, and it's all to urban places. So we create, and when people move to big cities, they all want to live in the same space. Basically, people want to live in the next to the infrastructure that they really like. So, for example, in New York, nobody wants to live on the far suburbs of Brooklyn. People want to live in the best places in Soho, in the meatpacking district in Manhattan. So we create smaller spaces, but in the best locations. So the location is the key.
Mm.
So people prefer to live on 20 square meters in the right location versus 80 square meters somewhere where they don't want to live. So we see a big trend. More and more people want to live in the same areas, and that's because people want to live where there are good jobs, and the good jobs are very concentrated, and that's the reason why we create these spaces. And this is the urbanization, and the second is that people don't have certainty anymore how long they will stay. So they might live in it's not like it used to be. Like, I'm German, and in Germany people would spend most of their life in one place or maximum two places. Yeah. So now people cannot commit. So in Germany the average rent contract is 7 years, and people are not ready. Younger people like me, who I moved in my life 30 times. I cannot commit to 7-year rent contract. I just don't know. Yeah, I just don't know. Will I stay that long? And so what we do is we do flexible contracts. So our contracts allow people to make decisions very fast, to move in and move out. Yeah. So this is the extremely catered to the new way of life where you move together with your job, and that's why we have turnkey ready. You don't spend any time making your finishing your house, doing renovation, doing furnishing, nothing. You move in, and when you need to move out, you just move out, just like that. It's very, very flexible. And the key for this strategy is that what we do, if you rent an apartment from June Homes, you pay only 15%, 15% more than if you rent an empty apartment. So it is really, really affordable. Really, really affordable. So we do very flexible, ready to live space, very affordable, because you end up paying, maybe $300 more per month than you would if you take an empty apartment. But can you imagine the money you save not buying sofas, pictures, sculptures, not doing all of that? So I think we continue. We have now 1,000 apartments just in Manhattan, and we will continue expanding very, very fast across all geographies with this model, because it's affordable and it's very, very nice. And I think there's a lot of business to do in this space in all kinds of segments. We see competitors of us, they do the same just for retired people. We see the same concept just for students, for single mothers, for all kinds, luxury segment, mass market segment. You have a lot of space, but what we see is that in terms of my investing, in my life, I don't want to do any business that is not in accordance with my philosophy of life. Yeah. So I want to make businesses that improves people's life. And I want to do business which makes people more happy. And there's not many big businesses, because there's all kinds of apps that help you to improve your life, but they're very small businesses. Actually, the biggest business which has a major impact on the quality of life is real estate, because we create spaces for life, and not only for living, also for working. We have now 90,000 square meters of flexible office space, also completely ready to be used. Office as a service. We do spaces as a service is our main investment strategy at the moment. So we flexibilize all kinds of spaces to make them use as you need them, just like you use Yandex Taxi or you use anything. You can use any type of space when you need it, for the time you need it, and it's very well done. So that's our investment thesis.
So sounds great. It's Uberization of everything. Given on previous webinars, you talked about how you constantly connect with your clients, as well as spending significant time on the company's development strategy and preparing for new real estate projects to enter the market. Has something changed?
Yes, we are. As I said at the beginning, also we are mostly concentrated on our future developments in Moscow. We have some land in the center of Moscow. This quarantine allowed us to think a bit more, to develop more, and to be inspired for new ideas, to bring in new ideas for the project. We are working on this. We are very motivated, and also we are thinking about the after quarantine situation, about the business, about our new business plans. How can we more competitive in the market? How can we? The key is in this market. The key is that you provide more to the client. So we are working on this also. In the meantime, I am in very close contact with our clients about their requests, about their demands, with the new buyers, for them to provide them easier payment terms to buy their flats, to buy their properties. What else I'm doing for our new projects? Actually, lately 2 weeks, we are interviewing very famous interior designers, and yes, we are at home, but this new technology, Zoom and Microsoft Teams and the others, it's very like we are doing now. It's very live. So we are interviewing them online, and they are presenting us their latest jobs, like which they finalized last year, which they are doing right now. And I can say that I am very inspired with most of them. So when you are interviewing the designers and when they are presenting you new stuff, you are being inspired with new ideas to bring up to your project. Sometimes it's ideas of them, sometimes it's ideas of worldwide developers with whom they are working with. So I can say that we are sometimes stealing ideas. Of course, it's a global world, and we are, let's say, try to catch more, try to be inspired more to bring something new to our development, and so on.
So Poklonne is a really unique and great place to live in Moscow. But if it's not secret, what is the new place in the center of Moscow you told about? Where it is?
Yeah, just very center. Let's say very center. One of them I can say we have one more project at Kutuzovsky, near Park Pobeda. I can say in Park Pobeda. In the Victory Park. We call it Victory Park Residences. We are very close to start construction. There are some bureaucratic things going on, documentation. I think end of June we are starting the construction, just after the quarantine. So we are preparing for this also. For the others, I cannot say location, but I can say that heart of the city, and we are working on the architecture, as I said, and the development.
Okay. Yurata, the question is for you. I know that despite the pandemic, you continue to publish printed version of InStyle magazine, try to save jobs, and at the same time developing it in digital. Have you come up with new formats in this matter? Are there already new trends in publishing?
Yes, it's really some, as we did say, challenging times, and it's not easy in pandemic situation to keep budgets for the print, and the print was always in all years was a really expensive pleasure for the publishers, and now it's not so easy to publish it month to month, but we really decided to do it each month in the summer issues. In order to keep the positions, it's important, not looking at the pandemic. You have to show your force and the main important tasks. And this way, of course, we have a special projects and ideas how to shoot in these pandemic times, and we do usually at homes with our friends of photographers. Is something special, new for us, and what more interesting that not all homes and spaces are really big in order to have a distance for the shooting, but it looks very funny from one side, at the same time really demanding for the people, for models who participate in this. I think it's the hugest trend, and I hope that very soon it will finish. That we will return back to studios and will be other point that of course all our digital platforms now growing up all magazines do it. And it's time to keep more short distance with the audience and to find new creative formats, as you did say. And everybody knows what we do in this space in our end lives, and some courses, and trying to cook and trying to show how to live. Gymnastics is really parallel world. And I think that this thing after the pandemic, in some way, it will still be with us, and we think how to manage this and how monetize this for future. Because of course, not only print websites, all our social media, they show that media brand like whole brand, but particularly never we thought how to develop these special things. We had the most strong print and website, but I think in future it will be some very new direction. What more we can say, that I think that we still invest in important thing, particularly for the glossy magazines in Russia. You have to keep the luxury level, and not looking at the budgets, not looking at all these difficulties. You have to keep luxury, and sometimes now luxury is a way to show your creativity, how you can find the new idea, particularly in the print, and to make this article or this project looking on the very high level. And one more thing I thought about, that in these times, that glossy magazines try to react more to demands and problems of all our audience with what we have from day to day. Do we have a protection from the government in these times, or how we will have this opportunity to buy stuff and to shopping after the pandemic times as usual? Because of course everybody understands the salaries goes down, and sometimes staff are cutting. No, I'm looking at, in general, optimistic. I'm really feel that everything goes, and this as well will pass away too. But anyway, I think all the best what we have in this experience we have to take in the future.
Okay, hope so. Murat, in addition to Turkey, your firm is working on mixed-use projects in Miami, Dakar, Dubai, and now in Russia. What stages are your project at today, and has quarantine affected your work? How does your team deal with coordination and building workflows?
As I said, we are 6 weeks now, I think more than 6 weeks lockdown in Istanbul. And in the first day, we created the TA, Tabanlıoğlu Home Office system, with all my architects. There are about 80 architects, and they are working. When you go now to my office, you see all the computers are on, and then you can see how the people are working. So this is the without people. I never saw this before. I have 5 floors in an old building in and then of course we are now every day I have to make conferences. 2 days ago I made a conference with 80 in one Zoom conference. I speak with all of them. It was, I think, about 3 hours, first time in my life again. Like Güven, I'm not also like you. We are not traveling anymore, so I cannot go. Every month I was in Miami, Moscow, or Dubai, or Doha, or in Germany, where we have also another project. But somehow nobody stopped the project. But it's, of course, everybody, like Güven said, is looking forward. But some projects, the clients, and mostly the clients are also my friends. I like this. Also, now we are with Güven, a good friend, I think. This is very important for an architect. We are discussing a lot now through through different medias, and we want to see us. Of course, it's mostly like this, and we are talking the future. For example, we have a huge master plan in Germany. It's a very nice landscape between Frankfurt and Köln, and then so we are changing maybe many things. The Germans are saying us like our friends said, like in Manhattan. So we have to make because people have after this less money, or if they have money, maybe they don't want to spend anymore so much. And secondly, but we will add more terraces, for example, more balconies or more openings, because I'm happy. I'm on the Bosphorus. I'm in a very nice apartment with terrace, but many people has not these apartments. So how we can make this affordable housing, more sustainable, and I think also with more and more local materials. I think this is, for example, we are now building the Opera House of Istanbul. I hope it will be finished end of this year, and they are working day and night. And we wanted to import the chairs, for example, from Spain, but Spain was locked down, and we have also very good people. They can make furnitures, but they didn't make before maybe furniture for an opera house, stool for an opera house. And then we designed with them together, and we came also that we can have the best materials also in Turkey. Textile is very good. So I think every country will look now more and more what is local. And I think, of course, this is not, I think this is also good, I think, for the future. To be local is sustainable. If I take the stone, if I make a project in Moscow, like our project now with Güven, I think if we use more the stone from Moscow or the materials from Moscow and the feelings from Moscow, because it's for the Moscow people, I think very important. And I think we will learn in these, now it's 2 months, maybe it will be 3-4 months. We are learning a lot of, as designers also with them. And as Güven said, it's the same, we are more concentrated. I'm in every detail now because I'm traveling less. So I can remember I was in Miami for 2 hours meeting, and I spent 4 days in Miami. Of course, not all for business, also for fun. But now these things are missing, and we have more time for us, for ourselves, to read. But also, I was yesterday also in a meeting like this. I said it was mostly with architects, and I said I'm dreaming also now more. I have sometimes very mixed dreams. If I make up, I have different inspirations. As an architect, this is also very nice. And
I hope
I think this is the main thing.
Some of them drops at Paklonne, some of those dreams.
Of course. I'm dreaming now about a new staircase.
Okay, great.
Okay,
Sorry for
in this
interrupting.
difficult time, everyone is trying to find solutions in their area, and in my opinion, this is a time that new trends in different areas can be set for their further development. Now, during a long period of self-isolation, I am sure that many people have started to think about what kind of space do they live in, what services from old habits are most lacking for them now, and how to make their life in the future as comfortable and secure as possible. For example, I often remember the hotel serve my trip in Rome, and it was pleasant to receive a card from hotel service every morning with a warm wish and weather report. And what was your unforgettable memories, greatest emotion you had experienced in that kind of a service? Which lack of service do you feel most? Or maybe you have that service in your life now? Güven, let's start with you.
Actually, as like before, and most probably after this quarantine period, I will try to travel more as before, because when you are traveling, you are inspired of many stuff. When I am traveling, I like many of you. Mostly, I try to sometimes hotels, but mostly I try to use Airbnb to my objective is this here is not to make it more cheaper, but to see more developments, to see new developments, especially in New York, in Miami, in Paris, to see new innovations, to see what other developers worldwide in metropolises, in big cities, trying to bring people's lives new stuff, what kind of services they are providing. It's easy to read all of them. You can check also in the internet, but sometimes they don't mean to you anything if you don't live it, if you don't experience it. So the experience is very important, especially for developers. For me, I think for the architects, it's the same, because architects are also like, they are emotional and creative people, a little more maybe than all other people, like artists. They are also being attracted by experiences. Murat Bey can express his emotions on this one. I'm sure he will tell a lot of things about this. So while traveling, I am collecting inspirations, collecting ideas, collecting many things to bring in where we are doing development.
Which of those experiences has impressed you most, and maybe some of them you adapted to your personal life or to your business?
Yes, I can say the experiences which I am inspired more are the ones which are touching people's lives, which are touching people's daily lives, like small things. Sometimes really small things, changing many other things, like making your life very easier. And one of those experiences are especially service. Yes, we talk. Let's define this serviced apartments now very shortly. We talk about 24-hour concierge. We talk about maintenance. We talk about housekeeping, 24-hour valet. Like you arrive by your car, someone from the staff is meeting you, taking your car to the parking. You easily drop into the building. You go up to your flat, so you spend less time. Property management capabilities, like in many 5-star hotels, they are bringing up to their properties to the residentials, like repair services. Something is broken at your home, so sometimes you need assistance with something else. You call and like you take an appointment, maybe in half an hour, maybe in an hour. They do it very fast. About like you are traveling, you are calling the concierge, guys, I'm returning in a week and I need this to be done in my house, in my flat, in my house. So they schedule maintenance or they schedule services. This also makes very easy. But yeah, we all try to bring all of those to Moscow, to our developments. Many of them are physical things. Many of them are easy to do, easy to bring. But the difficult thing here is the hospitality. what we think, what we dream in our projects, also what we are motivating, and try to understand how to provide all those. The hospitality is a very important thing. It requires serious training to your staff. It requires their warmness. It requires their emotions, because when you assign someone to do something, sometimes they do it without emotions. Sometimes the approach to the client, the approach to the person who is living in the property, who is living in the community, by the staff of your complex is very important. I can give you very like small examples. I lived in New York like around 2 months, 2 years ago. We had some projects going on, and I was 2 months away from Moscow, and I came back after 2 months. But I had interesting feelings when I came back, because at the serviced apartments where I lived, there was amazing hospitality. The people, the concierge, let's say, you enter the building, the guy who is sitting at the concierge is smiling at you. He is asking, how was your day? What did you do? He's sometimes speaking about what he has done and all those stuff. He's making your life easier. Let's say you go out from the building and you are waiting some kind of delivery, because the delivery service is like very developed in New York, unlike Moscow. Moscow is developing lately. He like delivery is bringing to your on your name. They are getting it. He's texting me, Güven, I received your stuff. Don't worry, everything okay. Those small things are very important. So and this is not very easy to do, because it requires serious trainings to do stuff. It requires a different vision than we have now in Moscow. So in general, we are trying to develop ourselves, develop our stuff, and train them.
Okay. Murat, I know that the architecture is kind of your family profession, and your dad was also an architect. And I think we can say that your sense of beauty is natural. You also, like Güven, have worked in many international projects, particularly in 5-star health projects in many countries around the world. Are there any significant difference between countries' understanding of high-quality service, infrastructure, understanding architecture? Do you consider the national aspect when you're working on international projects?
As you said, I worked with different clients, with different management systems. I made a project with Four Seasons, which was very difficult to design it because they have really rules you have to follow, and these I saw that during the process also these rules are changing because competition is changing. So I think the luxurious brands also are changing themselves, and more are they are using of course they are looking for better architects for new ideas, like Güven said, and I think this is good for us, and they are more open-minded. Before, as I remember, the first 5-star hotel in Istanbul, Hilton, is looking like the Hilton in Athens or like in somewhere else. So it was like a McDonald's, you know, they had their standards, even the 5-star hotel. And if you look now, if you Google now a Rosewood hotel, so in every, which is now also growing up, or other brands, every hotel is changing, and in every city they are, and which is very nice. We are finishing now in summer a new serviced I can call it resort, villa, or apartments in Bodrum. And we worked. He's also one of my best friends, Sahir, who owns Maça Kızı. This is the best resort in Bodrum. I hope it will open in 1 month, for example. And it's a new project for them with another investor that we worked before for loft apartments in Istanbul, who was the managing the Istanbul airport many years. And we worked now with the construction firm, and then also with Maça Kızı, who has not roots like Four Seasons, but he is coming, and then we are spending many time. We are talking, and he wants to put the lifestyle that he's making since his mother times in his hotel to a service apartment. And you have to come and see, and then you can see his feelings in the room, in the restaurant, or on the bar, on the beach. So it's not a typical resort with some villas. So it's really then Maça Kızı villas or service apartments, because everybody can give the best service. But service needs also feelings, and feelings you can have not with the standard books. You can give the best security, you can give the best waiter, but if the barman is not nice to you, or it's a friend of you on the bar, you don't drink so much nice. I think this is very important. So I think more and more it will come. And for example, my mother is living in Zorlu Center in Istanbul that we designed some years ago. She's over 80. She's happy there. She has a 2-bedroom apartments. She moved from a big apartment to there. Why? Because she's insecure. She can go down to the market. Now she's locked down because she's over 65, but in normal days, there is a very nice concert hall. She can be in the concerts. She can invite her friends because it's very central, and she can go shopping, and she's not feeling alone. This is also very important. For example, in the new Moscow project that we are doing now with Antep, is very important. We have hotels with nice restaurants, with outdoor facilities. And imagine you are in a service apartments, you are alone, your girlfriend is not there, or your wife is away, or somehow, or you want to be with her, go down. You can eat some French food or Chinese food. It's it's a different than you are alone in a typical apartment. I think also the feelings of the service apartments are changing. First, we had the really service ones, but now I think it will be much better with all the experience we had. I think this is the most important thing. The same thing, we have another project in Miami where we have 2 hotel towers and then again service apartments. And down we have a huge market hall and a nice marina with the big where the big yachts can come. Next to it is, for example, a place for the helicopter or seaplanes, and it's nice to have an apartment there instead of one of the towers in Miami, which is a normal apartment. I think in these things, and like our friend said, also everything is there. The furniture is there. You just press the button, or in these days with the handies, before you come from your travel, you can order everything. Everything will be ready, and that's done. And then if they are good people, nice concierge or nice barman or the cleaning lady even coming with a nice smile, I think, and you are done. This is nice.
Yeah, sounds
Sorry,
really
my dog
nice.
is
And
One more client.
it sounds don't happy uh, to hear
too locked down,
Murat,
too
and
long
you
down.
oh
Too many people around.
You're right. The next question is for you. You, as a person who practically live on airplanes and visit the most diverse places in the world, what can be noted as a consumer of service? What makes your heart beat faster? And are there any special things that you are looking in a hotel or in an apartment where you stay?
Really, we traveled a lot in the past, and I hope we will continue to do it, not looking at
I'm
all
sure we
threats
will
that we have
continue.
now. Yeah, and so I'm really fan of hotels because you can understand that for me, each hotel can suggest you a small another type of life to change your circumstances and to feel yourself in another space. I don't like a new outfit for women, and it's always an opportunity to give more variety to your life. And of course, I understand that mostly classical idea of design is more understandable for people. And at the same time, I'm really fan of some unusual things. And I have one dream, maybe sometime, to get to Macau and to see Zaha Hadid's place, Morpheus. What I think that our colleagues know it, and it's really unbelievable on the pictures. But maybe it will be in the future. What concerning the hospitality and all rules of the hotel structures, how they live inside, it's really important when you feel this personalization, when you are arriving time to time, and sometimes, I don't know, barman or in the reception, they can know who is arriving and can name your name and can suggest you some good cocktail, even if they remember what you did try last time. And to it's really very charming. And I'm always reading all the letters from the managers from hotel, and particularly it's a really pleasure to receive when they write. And some of them with beautiful pictures, or even in Russian, I'll try to keep and to put in my archive for fall and full of papers in the flat. It's okay, but it's some of the rememberings. This what you did talk before. This emotional thing is very important, and it's good idea to start the relations with the place, with the space. Another thing, of course, the quality of is good service and speed of the service, and not to wait for a long time. And as sometimes happens in southern countries, for example. But it's okay. We can live with this. And maybe one special thing, more closer to women. As everybody knows, God is in details, and when you feel in the hotel, it's or in the some spaces, open spaces, uh, public, but as you did try on the Poklonne, it's so important for each woman to have good mirror in the bathroom, just for make its makeup. I never did
Yes.
find, never all the world, not in risk, not never. And even sometimes you try to take this mirror with yourself to find the window and to do it for everything. Help yourself, as we can say. Uh, I think this is important, even with all these details. When you have, I like when you have some things like from home in hotel, and like good albums, books, or even sometimes discs for musics. Not, I mean, the discs like CD, but huge, like in the past, vinyl discs. And so particularly in Miami, you can feel there a lot of some funny things. And why the main, as I understand, the main not to give the high quality and very luxury, but to give some special thing, particularly from the heart of this space to the heart of the clients. And it is a future, as I did say, personalization and this close distance with audience. I think it's important.
I see. Thank you. Oscar, you spent your student days in the USA, and as far as I know, still spend a lot of time in the other side of the ocean doing business. Given has already touched upon the American experience, and as a businessman and investor, what do you think? What objects do you choose for yourself, and what would you rather invest in? Does the developed infrastructure make hotel and real estate more attractive in the eyes of buyer, consumer, and investor?
Okay. I think I think one of the most important aspects in all of my businesses I did in my life is the price. The price. So I think when you have infinite money, you have a good life, you know. In very rich people, we have a family office, tens of people working for us to make our life really good. So, and it's much better. I have a much higher quality of life in Moscow than I had in Los Angeles, because in Moscow I have more than 10 people working for me. And if I do the same in Los Angeles, it costs $100,000 per month to do the same. Yeah. So I think um, for me, the interesting question is not how to do luxury, because I think in terms of luxury, of course, what I like, I like Four Seasons and all the things that were mentioned before. But for me, the question is how to democratize this. So how do you make all of this available for an ordinary family? And this is really, for me, the most powerful question. Is, of course, it is not always possible, but it is more and more possible. You see, we have now services which are available to everyone. For example, delivery of food to your house. It's very comfortable. It's almost everything you can get delivered. And I have a big business in Germany doing food delivery. It's right now booming because obviously everybody is getting delivery. But for me, the question is like, how can we make the services very cheap? For example, I give you one example. For my wife, she really likes fresh flowers. My wife always wants to have fresh flowers in the house. So when we do this, we buy fresh flowers all the time. It costs about, let's say, $400 per month to have always beautiful flowers in your house, always something new. Yeah. But this is not scalable. There's not many families that can spend $400 per month to have always beautiful flowers. So for me, the question is like, in New York, there's a business which makes for $40 per month. So they make a service, you pay $10 per week, and every week you get new compositions of flowers to your house. They know the spaces in your house, and you get deliveries of fresh flowers to your house every week. And can you imagine how much nicer it is to live when you have a new composition of flowers inside of your house, and it costs only $40? So this is for me a real disruption, because I think many people can do good things very expensive. It's not so
Is it
complicated,
very small composition?
Yes, it's small, but it's nice, and they make it somehow on a very large scale. They make it more affordable because you understand that the margin on flowers is quite big. Yeah, so they use some kind of cheaper materials, but it's very nice. Yeah, because my one of my business partners, he built a house, for 50 million euros, and if you build a house for 50 million euros, it's not so difficult to make it nice. It's really, it's not, you don't need much talent to make a house nice if you spend 50 million euros. But this
I
question
don't
is,
know.
for
I'm not
example,
sure. Murat, what are you thinking about this? Is it
of course, you
difficult
can
to
still
make
make it ugly.
50
You can still
million?
make it ugly.
That's why I never made a house. I never do. It's the most difficult thing in the world for an architect. either he should be a friend, maybe after I designed the house, we can fight each other. I tried once when I was very young, and I think I think it's a different job to make a house, a private house.
It's very, it's
I think
very,
you think the
it's
same,
very
yeah.
difficult. That's
Yeah.
true. But I'm just saying I'm interested in because most people in the world are, you know, middle class, and I would like that we, you know, erode fully, you know, poor. That there's no more people who are poor, but middle class. And for middle class, for example, we have services. For example, that you don't have to think. For example, we bring you everything that you need for your house, for your apartment. Once a month, there's a package which has shampoo and soap, toilet paper, every napkin, everything you need for 1 month to not think anymore about this, you know, utility stuff. And it's actually very optimized because in the app, you have an app and you can just say when something is finished. So the package is self-improves every month. It becomes more and more aligned to your needs. So it is like a artificial intelligence making decisions how much to send you and so on. So I think, you know, sometimes the simple things are the most powerful. Like you said, the God is in the details. For example, what we see also as in terms of experience of people when they live, we see that the average tenant to landlord relationship is extremely bad. Landlords are probably one of the most hated people in the world. It's really hard to find a segment of people because you have to send them money every month. You know, why would you not hate them? It's clear. But also when you have, you know, I lived when I was before I was successful, I lived as a tenant, and you call the landlord, he does not pick up the phone 3 times. Yeah, then when he picks up the phone, you have a problem. He's like, I don't want to, you know, it's a lot of problems with, especially with the small landlords, fragmented. They because most people who want to become landlord, they want to have passive income. You know, when you buy real estate in my company, you don't have to do anything. You just get passive income. But most people buy apartments and they think it's passive income, but it's not passive income. Yeah, you have to do things. And then when these things happen, they get really pissed off. They get angry. And the average tenant is so bad that when you just do a normal job, it's already a great experience. So we have, for example, because we have scale in the apartments, we have an app. So you don't have to call landlord. Any problem you have, you make a picture, you put it in your app, and the service is within 30 minutes, there will be a handyman at your apartment fixing whatever needs to be fixed. No need to call, no need to feel bad, you know, no need to do anything. So basically, this in terms of convenience, you have, let's say, the utilities have to work perfectly. And you know, when I study a lot of happiness of people, and happiness has a lot to do with absence of pain and absence of struggle. Yeah, so when you don't have pain and you don't have struggle, you're already much more likely to be happy. So this is and then you have on the bright side, let's say what could be the experiences. What we find is what we found interesting is that there's not one company that can do all services perfectly. Yeah, so we are like a marketplace. So we cannot become a Netflix and make flowers and make healthcare services and make all the services. So we have actually integrated in our apartment the best people who do certain things. Yeah, that they make it and it's now quite amazing how many companies you have around a house which make living extremely easy. Extremely. You have, you know, cleaning services, you have that. And there's companies who are very specialized, for example, for senior care. They have staff that can come to a senior and do, you know, like taking care of a person and things like that. So I think and this is now becoming more and more affordable so that a lot of people can now live the quality of life of much richer people. And I see even a trend that very rich people actually reduce their family office because they don't need the personnel anymore. You know, when you have people let go the drivers because now they have Uber all the time. It's or people let go part of their assistants because they have some other services, and it become much more affordable. So I think, you know, in terms of quality, like you asked the question, because I lived in Germany for a long time, I lived in Russia very long time, in Kazakhstan, in Ukraine, in Malaysia, in the US. You know, for example, I'm not in the group of people who think US is the best country in the world. I don't think US is the best country in the world at all. You know, you can see right now how US is failing with coronavirus. 1/3 of all cases and deaths in the world in the US, they are completely overwhelmed, doing a really bad job with coronavirus because a lot of stuff in the US is really not working. And if you look at actually the cities in the US are really run down, very old cities, very old infrastructure, and very broken. A lot of cities are very broken. So I don't think that the US is the best example for quality of life. I think when I look at quality of life and best life, which is to get inspired, I look at Finland, I look at Sweden. I think that they have much better solutions for a really beautiful, you know, way of life that makes you happy and you are productive in the same time, because these countries are very productive. They are one of the highest GDP per capita in the world. In the same time, they're the happiest in the world, because, for example, the countries where we usually think the people are the happiest, like Buddhist countries, they're not even in top 50. They're not very happy people, actually. You know that Bhutan is also not in top 50. So I would learn from Germany, Switzerland, Holland, you know, Sweden. There's a lot we can learn from in terms of how you organize the services. I think one of the biggest investment trends, which I feel at the moment like I'm retired. You know, I have a mini retirement at the moment. Yeah, so I feel now actually how difficult it is to be a retired person. And I think one of the biggest, most profitable businesses will be providing living solutions for seniors, because in 10 years, when I will be 50 years old, I will be still younger than half of people, because the aging population in Europe, when you're 50 years old, you're younger than half of the people in 10 years. So most people will be 50 plus. There will be a lot of people 60 plus, 70 plus. And for these people, there's what they need in terms of living is first healthcare services. Sometimes they need, you know, to get a shot, or they need something just like a nurse close by. And the second thing they need is community. So when we are young, we have very active lives, and our community, we create our community ourselves. So we don't need to buy community together with our living space. But the older we get, the more our community revolves around the place we live. Like Murat said when he gave the example of his mother, for her, the community around her is key. It really becomes a living space. So I'm really inspired to create a beautiful. I think in Russia, for example, if you look at the statistics, in Russia, people are quite happy and almost as happy as in other countries until 50. But from 50 and older, people become very much more unhappy than in other places. Like people, older people in Russia just don't live a life worth living most of the time. You know, low pensions, the kids have to send money. They don't. And I think whoever will create solutions for this group of people, that they can have a feeling that they are not in a retirement home, that they live in a nice home, but they have community and services around healthcare. I think this will be one of the biggest business models in the coming next 20 years, if you ask me. Yeah. And by the way,
Okay,
just
thank you.
to add to the previous, because Guven said that he will travel more. Everybody wants to go back to travel, and I just want to say that I decided to travel less because the last 5 years I traveled 1 million kilometers. So actually, I live not like a normal human. You know, I mean, traveling, moving my body 30 times around the globe. It created a lot of health problems, digestive problems, and now since I'm 6 weeks in one place, my digestion is, I'm completely healthy. I have never felt better in my life. My digestion is perfect. I have discovered
Same.
the most beautiful places around my house. It turns out, like 1 kilometer from my house in the woods, there's a sand bottom river, so it is like almost like Maldives. I have never known it's here. I found 2 new lakes around my house. I now take the kids, you know, our travel is now, let's go to the river, let's go to the lake next by, let's go to the forest next by. And it's actually not that much worse. We don't always have to travel to Hawaii around the globe to find something beautiful. So my experience from the coronavirus is that it made me much more a normal human being. So more time with family, more time in nature, more time at one place. It looks like it makes people more happy, and actually doing more things with your own hands. Actually making things with your own hands makes you extremely happy. It turns out it is a very beautiful experience. So I don't plan to sit in the plane as soon as things open.
But I can tell that on the Maldives, it's a little bit warmer than
Yes.
under the Moscow. Murat, what about your
Yes.
projects, communication with national partners and colleagues? What do you think? What modern trends will become mandatory for projects in the future? Do you feel any changes in architectural trends under the pandemic?
We talked a little bit about this. So everybody is now in a different mood, like our friends. So I talked today with my friend, also client. He is the owner of Rixos, Feta. He said, I was in Antalya, now I moved to Istanbul, but don't talk about business. 1 month, what can I say to you? Everybody is waiting for the future, and that's why it's good. I think we will have 1 month, maybe 1 month more, and then we have also some months to come to the real life again, and then maybe we will see we are changed, and which is good. I can read books now more. I can communicate with my friends on the phone if I want. I go just two friends. One is my neighbor in the same forest where I'm living on Bosphorus. We are on the garden, sitting, drinking something, and going back. I'm with my girlfriend, with my dog. It's very different. And the same thing, it's also in the first day, I didn't speak with my clients, so I don't want to speak with them because everybody was alone and listening himself. Why I had to say, send me money or agree with this. For example, I'm making a very different project, which is on the on the island, Princess Island. It's an old school for priests, and then the client is the patriarch, the Orthodox, and you had Easter, and he's the head of the Orthodox, and he's in Golden Horn in his house. I sent him a book about the new project, about the renovation of this project. He didn't answer, which is very normal. I'm waiting. And I have a sponsor. He's sponsoring, and also he didn't answer. So it's normal. Okay. So I think in these days, first of all, I think everybody is spending less money. So if I look to my credit card, only we are spending money for the organic store. They are bringing us to home, or sometimes some pharmaceutical things. I bought some books. What else? So I'm not traveling. I'm not going to a nice restaurant. So we are sitting at home. I can cook again, and then I'm waiting for new inspirations. And I make sketches. I never make sketches. I had no time for sketches. Now I'm sketching again after many years. My table is full of sketches. I'm writing a book about the history from my father till today about the Opera House of Istanbul. I'm reading books accordingly. I'm reading in 5 different books. I'm reading in German. I'm reading in English. I'm reading in English, which is also nice. And I think everybody is making similar things. And then if we are coming again together, slow and slow, in Greeks are saying siga siga. So I think we will have a different world. First, we will say we will be afraid, we can say, can I drink with this on the bar, or is this food healthy, or I don't know. We will have different feelings after all that. We are changing. It's not a big time, but I can remember when I was a soldier, so I was happy. I paid the full years in Turkey. You can pay. I was just 4 weeks in the military, and then I brought. I was beginning on my business with my father. I brought everything with me, all the plans, and so I looked one day. After one day, I didn't look again. So all these 4 weeks, I was away from the world. Now it's a different thing. So it's again, it's a different isolation in our homes. And I think I'm preparing myself, like we talked before, for a new world, which is nice. Maybe you saw also in all the German TVs showed the dolphins on the Bosphorus. They are already there. I saw them also before, but we can see them more. So I don't have to go to Maldives, so I can see them also on the Bosphorus. So I can swim again on the Bosphorus. Like I was a child, I was swimming in Bosphorus, but not anymore. Maybe after all these, of course, I can see all the Russian ships are coming from the Black Sea in front of me and bringing some goods, some petroleum, so I can see this. But the traffic in Bosphorus is also different.
But you sound like a really happy man right now, with your sketches, books, and cooking, and dolphins in Bosphorus. Sounds very cool. Given and
of
your
course, I'm missing
as
one thing.
Yeah.
One thing more. I was listening to the German TV. There was a Dreisat. It was a Swiss soprano singer, and she said she is now 1 month away from the Zurich concert hall. And they asked her, "Are you singing yourself?" She said, "No." They said, "Why?" "Because I'm not with my group together." Some people, like the footballers, for example, they need the group to come together. But people like me, I don't think I need all the people around me. I like the people. I'm very social, but I'm learning now also to be just with my girlfriend, to be at home with the dog. It's a learning period, but it depends how you are.
Let's back to our roots. Given and your opinion as developer, which is more attractive from the point of view of market demand, hotels, residences, or lots of mixed-type service apartments. Will all of these formats successfully survive the crisis?
Your microphone is off.
Given, your microphone is off. We don't hear you. Okay, let me check. Okay, I see that Given have some problems. Okay, my next question is for Yurata. I'm sure that for some of our viewers, working on a remote site can become a normal condition after quarantine, including, of course, journalists. So without what you can't imagine your home workplace. What will become the most important in organizing work from anywhere in the world? What are the 5 points?
Of course, this experience gives us unbelievable results, understanding how it can work, particularly for myself. Before, when I did travel a lot, I had maybe sometimes I checking emails, I'm looking through the layouts, what we try to publish. Of course, we are negotiating in the web, in the emails, the same on WhatsApp on some questions, but now it's really hard work starting from 10 to 10. Understand that it can work even after the quarantine. But what I see that first thing is, of course, high speed Wi-Fi, internet. This quality of connection has to be very strong and very how to say, very stable. And without this, it's impossible to imagine. And even now in Moscow, during 2-3 days ago, we really had a problems with making these special passwords around the city, because it was not a good connection with our phone companies. And it's maybe the main thing. Without it, you can't imagine the stable work in a distance. Of course, now we understand that, as we did say, and as our friends did mention before, this variety of services. Of course, when you're sitting in house or sofa, you better to have as more opportunities on the screen, equipments, supplements, and the taking food at home. This will develop definitely, and I understand that this will help us to save our time and to save our force, just to direct it to the work. And it's a good thing from this point. Of course, the furniture, chair, has to be comfortable. But controversial. I understand the question number one, psychological. You have to say someone moment, stop. You finish your work. You don't work more in this time, because it's impossible to work 24 hours. What is maybe good for our companies, but it's really not a very good effect for the person. You have to have a really good schedule of timing to manage it and to say yourself, stop, now you are break this work and you will spend time for yourself. And in this case, I think the fifth trend, you have to find very quickly what makes you happy in this moment and to get it, or food, or connection, or talking with people, or good movie. And it's impossible. We are not robots. And of course, we have to feel life. As our friends, as you did say, that now you feel in this quarantine much more emotions than maybe before when you travel a lot all over the world. I'm still want to travel a little, but it's okay. I'm ready to stay at home too, for myself.
Thank you all very much. Let me introduce you to the webinar evening on Poklonная 9 once again. Today we were with investor, founder of Kupi VIP, car price Activa Oscar Hartmann, managing partner and co-founder of End Development Güven Dündar, Murat Tabanlıoğlu, co-founder and partner of Tabanlıoğlu Architects, and Yurata Gurovskaite, editor-in-chief of InStyle magazine. My name is Zhenya Milova, and I tell you until we meet again. You can watch this series of past webinars evening at Poklonная 9 in the recording on this site. And if someone is interested in learning more about the Poklonная 9 project, then you can leave a request below. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. 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 Bye.